Good evening and welcome to this Candidates Forum for the City of Greenville, North Carolina. This is one of Pitt County of North Carolina's 10 municipalities, and we are at our last day for our forums. Today is Friday, October 10th, 2025, and we are grateful for all of you that are here on this evening. My name is Elder Sharice Boyd, and I will be welcoming you as I did, and I will have a short word of prayer before I introduce our MC. Let every heart pray. Heavenly Father, we come in prayer with a heart full of thanksgiving, asking, dear Lord, that we seek your continued direction in all decision-making for this evening's forum. We trust you to be the source of all knowledge and understanding. In God we trust. Let every believer shout amen in Jesus' name. I am doubly honored to introduce our MC for the evening, and she shall come in her own way to let you know just who she is. Please put your hands together for Miss Diane Taylor.
Good evening and welcome. Welcome to the last of many sessions that we've had a privilege to host throughout Pitt County. The purpose of this evening is to allow the residents of our county to have an opportunity to get to know each of the candidates that are running for the City Council for the City of Greenville. It is live, as previously mentioned, so I will ask just a few things. First, please mute your phones. They will be heard, so please mute them. Second, please be responsible for looking at the time clock and try your best to keep us on track with answering your questions. So I do want to make sure that we're respectful of each other's time as well as the live broadcast time. This is sponsored primarily by GPAT TV as well as Awesome Radio, with a host of different community partnerships that we've been able to have. This forum will be live streamed and can be viewed on all social media platforms. So the rules of engagement for this evening, we will be separating the candidates as they come up by the race that you're running. So the two candidates that are running will be announced and they will come up here. Everyone will have 1 minute to introduce yourselves. And then after the introductions, there will be questions by our moderators. We have 3 moderators this evening. Our first moderator is Apostle Edwards. Please raise your hand so that they can see you. Our second moderator is Camille Nicholson. Dr. Nicholson, thank you. And last but certainly not least, Reverend Cunningham, please raise your hand. That's not you? Okay. Oh, you're Andrew Davis. Yes, we didn't get to speak, but how are you? All right. So your moderators are responsible for asking the questions. My job is to keep us flowing in an orderly fashion. Okay. Most of you know who I am. For those who don't, I'd like to simply say that I'm a community advocate. So it's always a pleasure to stand in a room where we have candidates that are willing to serve our community in this capacity. And with that, I think that we can get started. Our first race is for the at-large race for the City of Greenville. I'd like to welcome our incumbent, Ms. Portia Willis, and her opponent, Will Bell. Please join us on this side of the stage, Ms. Portia. You'll come up this way. This way. And at this point in time, I'm going to turn the program over to our moderators.
Test.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
At this moment, we will allow each one of you to introduce yourself for 1 minute. After that 1 minute is over, I will call time. So we would like to begin first with our incumbent, Ms. Portia Willis.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Portia Willis, and I am your Greenville City Council member at large. Many may not know, but just an opportunity for civic information here. Your council or the city of Greenville is represented by the city council, by our mayor, Mayor Pro Tem. Um, uh, that includes 5 different individuals who represent the different districts and an at-large representative. So it's been an honor to be able to serve you since 2023. I am a Greenville native, graduated from East Carolina University, and have worked in community support roles right here in town as a victims advocate, as an education program leader. I also have served on the boards for the Center for Family Violence Prevention, Daughters of Worth, and the Board of Adjustment for the town of Winterville. During my time on council, I have been able to impact the council by being able to help with decisions that have impacted each and every citizen of our city. My slogan is real change and real
Thank
results.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Will Bell.
Thank you very much. You packed a lot in there. That was a really good job of utilizing that minute. My name is Will Bell. I'm running for Greenville City Council at large. I served 2 terms as the District 3 representative, and then most recently served as an at-large representative for the city, representing all of the different parts of the city. I'm married to my college sweetheart, Larkins. We've been married for 7 years this past week. Been together 13 years. I've been in Greenville for about 15 years. We have 3 young children, William, Wade, and Joyner. William is 4 next week, and the twins are 5 months old. So we've got a growing family, and our hands are really full and very busy. During my time on city council, I had a record for setting low tax rates and keeping taxes stable and consistent. We helped found the ENC Alliance in my first term on the city council. That has led to over $1 billion of investment and thousands of jobs created within our city. We also invested heavily in road infrastructure. I'm really excited to talk about the issues that our city faces moving forward, and I appreciate you all for organizing this event. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. First question to the incumbent, Portia Willis. How will you protect waterways, green space, and farmland from overdevelopment?
It's a great question. So in our work on council, we're always aware and cognizant of environmental change and how the decisions that we make impact the environment. When we're making decisions, we're thinking about development, we're thinking about the way that it changes our community and the city that we want to see, the city that we envision in our future. And one of the things that I've been able to hear and been able to really tune into is the concerns in North Greenville or north of the river with the NOTRA Association, and just how they are being environmentally impacted by development and growth within our city, and being able to see how we can help mitigate those changes and keep in mind how we are making decisions to keep our environment intact, to have sustainability in the future. One of those things we've been able to do on a council is to hire a sustainability coordinator to look at those different efforts and initiatives that will keep us environmentally sound and help us in our decision making on the council to make sure that we prioritize having our environment at the forefront of the decisions that we make.
Thank you. Mr. Will Bell, the same question.
Okay, thank you very much. So growing up in Wilmington, I think this is something that was vitally important there. And we have unfortunately seen the issues. I still keep in touch with a lot of family in Wilmington and have seen a lot of negative issues there from overdevelopment in that city. I mean, you can't go a mile without passing trees that have been completely wiped out in the entire, paradise paved with a parking lot, to steal a quote from a viral song. But what's important is to make sure that we don't allow development in critical areas of the floodplain, make sure that we invest in critical infrastructure for stormwater. Town Creek Culvert was approved in the city council right before I got on city council, and then was executed during the time that I was on there. And that was a huge improvement that helped get water safely and cleanly into our watershed and make sure that took place. One last thing is, I led a monthly cleanup throughout the city. It happened on the last Sunday of every month, where we picked up trash in the university neighborhood, which is very close, obviously, to the Tar River, and making sure that we get out there, roll our sleeves up and get our hands dirty and pick up trash and make sure that it doesn't make it to our waterway is another important thing. I know it's not zoning related, but it is an important piece of that puzzle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. My question is also for Mr. Will Bell. You will have 2 minutes to respond. The question is, what role should the city, county plan and climate resilience, flood prevention, storm prep, and heat management?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Again, the question is, what role should the city council play in climate resilience, flood prevention, storm prep, and heat management?
Yeah, so talking about that Town Creek culvert and making sure that all of our stormwater projects are funded to make sure that we can efficiently move water throughout our city is extremely important. We passed a provision within our ERU plan for the Utility Commission during the time that I was on City Council that approved the funding structure to make sure that we would have funding moving forward as a city to address those flood issues. So that's one piece of the puzzle. Another one is making sure, again, like I said, that we don't develop the wrong parts of our city that are close to critical waterways that may be already overbuilt. And then storm prevention. We actually had one of the worst hurricanes that Greenville has seen since Floyd during the time that I was on city council. And, I was a part of the risk management team, went to our headquarters that are open during emergency management. It's a 24-hour facility, and having that and continuing to fund that is extremely important. It gave me a really good lens into understanding exactly what goes into managing, large tropical storms. This one was a hurricane. And so making sure that we have those plans in place and continue to plan for those events is extremely important.
Okay, thank you for that. Ms. Portia Willis, the same question. Would you like for me to repeat it?
Please.
Okay. What role should the city, county play in climate resilience, flood prevention, storm prep, and heat management? You have 2 minutes.
Right. So as the governing body of the city, I think we have a huge role to play in those areas. So in preparing for storms, for example, the storm that we were experiencing last week, we were able to receive the correspondence from our city manager who laid out all the things that the city was doing to prepare for the inclement weather. That is the type of initiative, that is the type of action that we want to see to make sure that we are ready for different events that are coming to our city to keep our citizens safe. Our stormwater management is paramount to make sure that we can help mitigate the way that water moves throughout our city. Also being able to address the concerns that our citizens have. I know that just recently we were emailed by a citizen who lives off of Camille Drive in Charleston Village, and he has a concern about flooding in his neighborhood, localized flooding that happens in storms. And so not only having that 40,000 foot view, but also being able to address the different needs that our citizens have that are occurring on a storm by storm basis. Also, there are issues on Golden Road that we're aware of that we are advocating with our state government to address when we have to determine what roads belong to who and then have an action plan and how we can address them. So I believe that our role is in that storm preparedness. It's in advocacy at the state level, and it is doing what works, what we know works in preparing for storms and keeping our citizens safe. Our engineering department does an excellent job in helping prepare for storms and helping to know what's best practices for how to handle storms.
Thank you for that.
Okay, Ms. Portia Willis, as the incumbent, I have a question for you. I'm sure you have seen a lot. How have you communicated with constituents who don't look like you or share your same values or life experiences?
I have interacted with them by first being present in their spaces. I've interacted with them by listening. I've been in many rooms, many situations where I may have an inclination that a person may not share my values, but that doesn't make them any less deserving of my respect and my attention. I believe that the core of being able to serve in the capacity that we've been elected to serve in is a mutual respect for each and every citizen within our city. So whether or not you agree with me or not is really a non-factor. It's just about a certain level of respect. So I've been able to, I counted that as a conviction of mine to be able to go in different spaces, listen, and see how we in the roles that we were elected to serve in can serve our citizens despite any disagreements we may have.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Bell, the same question, rephrased a little bit different. How do you plan to communicate with constituents who don't look like you or share your same values or life experiences?
Yeah, so I think I was a public school educated child, K through 12, all public schools, and I think that gave me a unique ability to communicate with people from all different walks of life, because that's what public schools are full of, is people from all different walks of life. And so, rather than looking at people as different than me, I just try to communicate with everybody in the exact same way. As a way to actually get out and meet the community a little bit more, I make an effort in my daily life to get out and dine in different areas of the city. I'm a big foodie, and so going out into those areas, you see, different parts of the city, all sorts of different demographics, and you get an opportunity to interact with them. But as far as how I would actually communicate with them, I think social media is an extremely powerful tool. Knocking doors at this campaign has been great, but I feel like since COVID, people have been less desired less to have visitors on their doorstep. And so I think meeting people on their social doorstep on social media and allowing, those interactions to take place is really important. But at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to talking to everybody just like a human. We may be a different skin color or different religious view, but we all bleed red. And so just speaking with everybody with the same kindness and compassion, I think, is the most important thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, this question is for you, Ms. Portia C. Willis. What steps will you take to ensure clear signage and consistent warnings, especially on Evans and Reed Street during construction?
Okay, so first, what comes to mind when I think about that question is being aware of there being an issue. And with construction, of course, we all know that with construction and rollouts, then there are going to be impacts to those things. So being aware of how the construction is going to impact businesses, the infrastructure, those that are within that localized area, and then being able to speak with those who have the direct contact with those areas and seeing what we can do to be able to make sure that we communicate the proper information, as well as being able to get feedback from those businesses or citizens that have concerns. It's like I said, it's first being aware of it, and then we have a plethora of staff at our disposal to be able to communicate concerns, and they are very proactive in making sure that whatever it is that needs to be done, we can get it done.
Thank you. Mr. Wilbell, same question. Where'd it go? What steps will you take to ensure the clear signage and consistent warnings, especially on Evans and Reed Street during construction?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, Evans is a NCDOT road, and while you can't pass the buck, it's a street within our city. You have to work with DOT and make sure that there's clear and consistent communication across both platforms, the city and the state government. I actually had a phone call today with a former House Majority Leader John Bell. He still serves in the House of Representatives, and was talking with him about needing to speed up the construction on Dickinson Avenue. I've heard from a lot of the private business owners on that street that project has taken on way too long. Everybody in this room is fully aware that it's been going on for almost 5 years. And so we actually have got a call lined up for this coming week with the DOT to make sure that we're moving forward with that project. And we're going to ask that staff to work extra hours so they can go ahead and get it done. As far as addressing that specific question and making sure that the signage is clear, outside of working that relationship with the state DOT, it's important to utilize correct signage, but also utilize the public information offices at the state DOT and at the city of Greenville to make sure that citizens are aware of what's coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My question will start with the incumbent, Ms. Portia Willis. Public safety continues to be a top concern for residents. What's your plan to strengthen police, community, address violent crimes, and improve neighborhood safety across all districts?
Thank you for asking that question. I am the liaison to the Police Community Relations Committee. I have made it my platform to be able to lift up public safety and to support our police department. With that being said, in my time first on council and being appointed as liaison, I started attending meetings with the PCRC, Police Community Relations Council, and they were so excited that I was there, and it gave an indication to me that the former liaison may not have been present in those meetings. Once being able to be there at those meetings, I was able to see that they were completely ineffective. They did not have any teeth in any decisions that they made, and the way that they went about with police community relations was ineffective. So I started a process to meet with Chief Sauls at the time and Manager Cowan to look at how we could reassess the Police Community Relations Committee, because in my opinion, it was not working. Then we had a transition over to Chief Tyndall. I've been very pleased in my meetings with Chief Tyndall and very excited about what we can do moving forward. I'm excited about the promotions that we've had recently with the police department, and I'm excited that the police department is more of a representative of the people we are working to keep safe. With that being said, also, I know that there are areas of accountability. I've spoken with Chief Tyndall about, for example, the concerns about some of our officers in the social media posts that they post. And if you were to have that officer stop you on the road, you'd be concerned about how they look at you and how they view you based on their social media pages. So how we can make sure that something as simple as that has a standard that we're not stooping below. Also making sure that we have officer wellness programs, that how are we handling in office or in department investigations. Those are all things that I'm working with Chief Tyndall to make sure that we're addressing, so we're truly protecting and serving our community.
Thank you. Mr. Will Bell, the same question. Public safety continues to be a top concern for residents. What's your plan for strengthening community policing, address violent crime, and improve neighborhood safety across all districts?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that's a really important question. I think one of the most important things that the government is involved in is public safety. Number one, addressing community policing. Perfect example of that is National Night Out, which I attended this week with my son. It was an awesome night, and it was great to see the community not only interacting with GPD, but also GFR, letting the citizens see that the assets that we invest millions of dollars into and help them understand why that equipment is so critical was a really awesome thing to see, and been a regular attendee at National Night Out over the years. And it's, just a great thing to be a part of. As far as prevention, if you look at a lot of the crime, especially the violent crime that's taken place lately, a lot of it has come from youth or young adults under the age of 25. And so rather than try to enforce, let's get into prevention. I've, got on my platform, on my website, bellforgvl.com, a platform initiative where I'd like to recruit the YMCA to town to create a positive, constructive environment for not only our youth, but all ages throughout our city to go and be in a constructive place where they can spend their time in a positive way. And the YMCA is not the only answer to that, but finding those ways that we can have prevention and give people quality things to do with their time, I think are a huge part of the prevention side. And then as far as making it safer, I think we have to continue to invest in lighting throughout our city. CALEA, it's a law enforcement prevention agency that's throughout the nation, says that one of the best ways to reduce crime in a city is to light it up and make sure that people feel safe when they're walking, when they're traveling, maybe when they're sitting on their porch at night. And so I think those three things are tantamount to fixing those issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
To my moderators, there's time for just one more question in this section. Please catapult any questions that you have from the audience before we have prepared questions.
Okay, I'll ask this question of Mr. Will Bell. What's your plan to control the number of vape shops in Greenville? That's a good question.
I should have known that question was coming. At the end of the day, from what I understand, and we discussed it a little bit on city council, it's really hard to place like a moratorium on something like that. I don't like seeing them. I saw a new one pop up just the other day and thought to myself, gosh, there's got to be a better use for that building. At the end of the day, I think it really comes down to the free market, finally determining, hey, we've got too many of these, and hopefully some of them, I don't wish any ill on any businesses, but maybe I'll just say I hope they stop showing up. That lit up with really bright lights and they can be a distraction. But you know, at the end of the day, I don't think the government can legislate its way out of that. You know, I talked last night at another forum about how the scope of government, in my opinion, has grown far too large, not just in Greenville, but really nationwide. And so I would not be in favor of, you know, creating any sort of law that would prohibit them. I just don't think that that's a fair to be, you know, if you're going to be considered an open market, I don't think that would be fair to do. But I will say, you know, I do think they're an eyesore and I hear about it all the time. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I'll ask the same question of you. Maybe you've heard of a plan, but what is your plan to control, Ms. Portia Willis, what is your plan to control the number of vape shops in Greenville?
Right. So I would have to agree with Mr. Bell on that we cannot place a moratorium on certain businesses. If different zoning is in place to allow for the business, then we have to be hands off on what types of businesses come to the area. We cannot discriminate against certain businesses coming into our area. But I too feel like, unfortunately, they're an eyesore. And I know that there are a lot that are unhappy with them. And I too hope that we see less of them, but we're limited on how we can control that.
Okay, thank you for your response.
Before you exit, each of you are allotted 2 minutes for your closing. Or 1 minute. I'm sorry, my bad. 1 minute. 1 minute apiece. I've been corrected. I stand correct. 1 minute, okay? 1 minute to close.
Who goes first on that?
And we'll start with the incumbent
incumbent.
Portia Willis.
Thank you all for your time. Thank you for the organizers of this forum. I think it's critically important that our voters hear from candidates and that they make an informed choice when they go to the polls, either in early voting, which starts October the 16th, or on election day on November the 4th. I have truly enjoyed serving the city of Greenville over the past 2 years. I feel like we are going in the right direction. And from what I hear in our community, I feel like our community feels like we're going in the right direction. For so long, our citizens have felt like their voices were either stifled or unheard. And I feel like from this council that we have presently, they feel like they're being heard. They feel like they're being listened to and that their voice matters. And so being a representative of our city lifelong, it's been an honor to be able to serve. And we want to continue going in the right direction with real change, real results. I'm passionate about small businesses, public safety, as well as civic engagement.
Thank you. Mr. Will Bell.
Thank you all very much for organizing this forum. I was telling somebody on the phone earlier today that I wish there were more of these, and I wish there were even more folks in attendance. I think it's critical for folks to hear, you know, from their elected officials and to be able to hold us accountable. Right, at the end of the day, we represent the people. My name is Will Bell. I'm asking for your vote through the early voting period and on November 4th on election day. I've got a very simple ask. You know, let's restore common sense to the Greenville City Council. While the current City Council has done a lot of great things, I think there's also some things that we maybe should not have gotten involved in. I think we could have gone revenue neutral on our tax rate. And that doesn't mean that anybody that's on the city council is a bad person. It just means we have a difference of opinion of how we conduct the business of the city. And so I ask for your vote on November 4th, and I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to both candidates. Thank you so much. Next, we are going to have our mayor's race. Our incumbent is our mayor, PJ Connolly. Please come up this way, PJ. I'm not sure. Yes. And after him, we'll come on up, Miss Mildred Council. Miss Mildred, the other way, please. Come this way. Yes, thank you so much. As they come, just a reminder that there are ushers to take your questions in the audience. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand after you've written it on your card, and our ushers will get it and bring it to the moderators. Just as a reminder to our candidates, there will be 1 minute introduction from each of you, and then our moderators will ask you each a question. You will each have 2 minutes to respond. We always start with the incumbent, so that would be you, PJ.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is PJ Colley. I'm the mayor of the city of Greenville, and I'm seeking re-election. I want to first say thank you for putting on this forum today. It's been an honor to serve the citizens of Greenville over the last decade. 4 terms as the mayor, 1 term as the District 5 council representative. I've enjoyed being able to represent the citizens of Greenville. I've got 2 little girls. I've got a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I've been blessed to be able to have them raised here in Greenville. I originally came here from Wisconsin, and I knew that when I came here, I wanted to make Greenville my home, and I wanted to raise a family here and own a business. I had no aspirations to become a politician. I found myself in this position. I've enjoyed serving the citizens of Greenville. I think we've seen a tremendous amount of progress that's taken place over the last decade. I look forward to the opportunity to win another term and earn your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mildred Atkinson, Council.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here this evening. My name is Mildred Atkinson, Council, and I am a native of Pitt County, attended the public schools here, attended Shaw University, my alma mater, in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Speaking to your mic, ma'am.
Masters-
I'm sorry. Speaking to your mic a little bit more. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Did I start over?
Sure.
I'm Mildred Atkinson, Council, a native of Pitt County. Attended the public schools here, Bethel Union High, Shaw University, and the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and received a master's in social work. Also, I am married, and I started, my youngest child was 1 year old when I started working on this council. I'm a former city council member. I have an older son, and also I am family oriented. I also work hard in my community, heads of several organizations that are very interested to my work and my life's work. And so I just like to say it's an honor to run again. I have served the city council for 3 terms as mayor pro tem, serving with 3 different mayors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Incumbent PJ Connolly, this question is for you. How will you oversee the infrastructures of roads, utilities, broadband, and keep the pace with growth?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I think that's one of our largest barriers for growth moving forward. It's a multi-pronged approach. A lot of people in our community aren't aware, but many of our major thoroughfares throughout our community are NCDOT roads, and we have several new road projects that are coming up in the near future. It's important for us to work with our state partners and make sure that they understand the importance of getting projects done in a quick manner, because it will stun our growth. We have seen a lot of new construction that's taken place over the years. We're seeing new opportunities in our community arising, but we have to be mindful as community leaders to make sure that we're keeping up with that infrastructure. And that's not just our roadways, but it's our bike lanes, it's our multi-use paths, it's our sidewalks, it's our stormwater infrastructure. And we have to make sure that we are investing heavily in those and making sure that we're working with our partners so that they keep up with that growth. I think one of the things that has been the hardest thing to watch over the last 10 years is seeing some of our major thoroughfares, the projects not getting done. Our Evans Street project, Old Tower Road project that connects Greenville and Winterville together, our project over there on Fire Tower Road and Portertown Road, where we're seeing a lot of growth off of 10th Street. Those are projects that have to be done if we want to continue to grow as a community and continue to see the rate of growth that we're seeing. We do need to work together. And I think that we've invested heavily as a community in our stormwater infrastructure over the years. The Town Creek Culvert project that was completed several years back was a major project for our downtown area. But that's just one of many that need to be done. We have a lot of projects throughout the community that have to be done. And I think that we need to make sure that we have a strategic plan moving forward to be able to address those issues.
Thank you. Ms. Mildred Atkinson, Council, the question would be for you as well. How will you oversee the infrastructure of roads, utilities, broadband, and keep up with the pace of growth?
Well, I'm experiencing it right now, right in front of my door. And it's been long term. And of course, I had some issues with it, and I contacted the manager to ask some serious questions because I saw some things that I didn't think was appropriate happening on my street. And so I addressed it with the staff members that the city manager sent. And I had a street meeting about some things that was going on that I thought was inappropriate. And I got some resolve on some of those issues. And I know that some of the constructions is longer than they say they're going to be. We were told on our street, which is West 5th Street, that it would be probably a year. It's been over 2 years, it seemed, and it's still not totally complete. I think that the city of Greenville need to make sure they're hiring people that actually doing the right thing and it's not mixed up, because some things did not go appropriate. For instance, signing contracts, we were told things would be underground, but on our street, there's some things on top of the ground, and we did not sign for that. So I challenged that. And for other areas of our city, I think that we need to monitor that. Bugs was a problem in many areas, and we asked that question, and I've already talked to our city manager about it, because I felt that if you're going to come in and tear up the streets, then the neighbors, the people that live there, gets a lot of the nasty things, the bugs, the other rodents of our city. And so he said that he would check that out with the next starting of construction, because it's not fair for us to have to pay for those
Thank
kinds of
you.
things. Thank you.
Okay. My question is for you, Mrs. Mildred Atkinson, Council. And you will, as usual, you have 2 minutes to respond. What government entity, and this is a community question, by the way, what government entity should address issues and activities for residents living in the extraterritorial jurisdiction?
I think it should be the same entities that does the city itself, because if they're going to be voted in extraterritorial jurisdiction, then they're expected to pay taxes. They're expected to do some of the same things that the city citizens have. So I think we need to work on that the very same. And every citizen, if you're going to annex me in, we should have the same rights as other citizens that live here.
Thank you. My question for you, Mayor BJ Conley, the same question. Now, would you like me to repeat the question? Okay, go ahead.
I will say, I think that to me, I feel like it's unfair for the ETJ. I think a lot of times the ETJ residents, they fall under the jurisdiction of the municipality, in our case, the city of Greenville, but they have no voting rights. And so I do think that there needs to be some modifications. I'm not exactly sure what that modification would look like, but I do think that they need to be able to have a voice when things are happening in their area, because it's unfair. We've seen a tremendous amount of development on the outside parts of our city, and a lot of those residents that show up do not live in the city limits of Greenville, but they fall underneath our jurisdiction. So they do deserve the opportunity to be able to voice their opinion and be able to be a part of the election process and elect people that they feel are best going to serve their needs.
Thank you.
Okay, PJ Conley, I have a question for you as the incumbent mayor. If you are reelected, what would you do to bring the disabled signs back into town commons instead of on the street? This is from the public.
I think that's a great idea. I think that those are very important spaces for people. We have a large disabled population in our community. And I think that it's important that we show that we care and we provide adequate spaces for them. I also think that they need to be strategically placed. They need to be close to places that are ADA compliant, so they can be able to have access through our entire downtown area. So I'm fully in favor of that. I think that would be a great opportunity for us as a city to show that every person in our community is important, and that they do have the right to free access like everybody else in our community does.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that response. And the same question for you, Mildred Atkinson, Council. If elected, what would you do to bring the disabled signs back into town commons instead of on the street?
Well, I wasn't aware that they were not still there. I missed that.
Mhm.
But I think that all residents, no matter who they are, should have equal access to whatever there is to offer in terms of disabilities. They should be there, and wherever there's a need, then the people that are disabled should have equal access to that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Mildred, Atkinson Council, the question is, how will you balance growth, housing, ECU enrollment, medical corridor, population with preserving the community character, farmland, and environment?
Could you repeat that question?
How will you balance growth, housing, ECU enrollment, medical corridor, population while preserving the community character, farmland, and environment? You have 2 minutes to answer.
Well, I would actually talk with the other fellow council members to get their input on that, and all those other entities. I would welcome them to have some discussion. Also, we need to have citizens input on that. We should have some listening sessions so that the citizens can give their input before we will make that decision for them. Because the mayor and city council, they're the governing body. They set the policy. The city manager and his staff or her staff carries that out, so that I think that all the entities that we are discussing, we need to have input from every one of them. And if it requires some type of partnership to make sure that every entity does its part, then we can certainly, I would welcome that.
Thank you.
You don't have to repeat it.
Okay, thank you.
That was a long question. I think it's important for great partnerships throughout the community. Greenville is very blessed to have large assets in our community that make us who we are today. Of course, East Carolina University is one of the major ones that attracts several thousand students to our area. Matter of fact, roughly 28,000 in undergrad. And then, of course, our graduate students, our dental students, our medical students that are all here. So it's important for us to have a good relationship with East Carolina University. ECU Health, which was formerly Vidant, is a huge resource in our community. We're one of the largest hospitals in the country, and we're very blessed to be able to have that asset in our area. And then I think that from a standpoint of growing our city, we have to be smart about it. I think it's important for us to be able to understand and work together to make sure that the growth that we see in our community is sustainable. I think a lot of times we look at it from, it's great to see growth, but we got to make sure that we're able to maintain it, and working with our partners on a regular basis and having discussions on how we move that forward is important. I think another integral partner is our school system. As we continue to see growth throughout our city, we're going to see different migrations of people in different areas. One of them that we're seeing right now is down 43, where we're seeing a tremendous amount of growth off of Mills Road. You're seeing a lot of new houses that are being built, and that's going to really saturate that school district out there. And I think that we need to be sitting down and having conversations with our school system to make sure that we're ready for the growth, because it's going to be tough. I mean, there's going to be some redistricting that might have to be done. And we as a city want to make sure that we're at the table and we're able to discuss where we're seeing some of that growth so that both entities are prepared for that growth. The worst thing that we could possibly do is grow and not be ready for it. And I think that having a good relationship with all of our community partners and sitting down and talking to them is going to help us with our growth moving forward.
Thank you.
This one is going to be for the incumbent PJ Connolly. What, if any, things are we planning to do for the businesses that were forced to close due to the beautification of Greenville and the road construction that led to them?
Yeah, that is a very tough thing. It's tough to see somebody that's poured their heart and soul, their finances into a business, and because of growth, because of construction that's being done, they could lose it all. I mean, it was terrible. We saw the same thing happen when we hit COVID. We saw a lot of businesses that were unable to maintain and stay open during that time period. I know the city has been able to offer some different grants that have been able to help it. I don't know if that's going to be enough to help some of those businesses. It's unfortunate it's that way, but the city can do things in the form of providing resources. I know some of the things that we're working on right now. We have a bus that will transport people to some of the construction areas right now. We've had some additional parking areas that we've put up down in the downtown area. Signage is extremely important to make sure that people understand that those businesses are open. So from a city standpoint, I think there's things that we can do. I will say, I don't know if there's, as a business owner myself, I don't know if there's enough resources or enough options for us as a community to help them as much as they need. It's very tough to see, and I understand how difficult it is. And we as a city need some of those infrastructure improvements. The road over on Dickinson Avenue over there was in disrepair. And it got to the point where it hadn't been treated for so many years that they had to go down into the subsurface and really build it back up, fix the infrastructure for the stormwater underneath it, move utilities, and some of those things that are very difficult to do. I don't know if there's enough resources that we can do, but those are some of the items that I think the city is working on. And I'm hopeful that we can come up with some new ideas as we move forward and we continue to see construction throughout our community.
Thank you. To Ms. Mildred Atkinson, Council, the question would be for you as well. If elected, what would you do for the businesses, if anything, that were forced to close due to the beautification of Greenville and the road construction that led to them?
That's a great question, and I'm really concerned about that. And I have talked to a few of those owners that lost their businesses, and I think it's disastrous. And I believe that had we, right now we're in critical times, as all of us know, all the way from the national to the state down to the local level. What we used to do, we will lobby our Congress people to help us. We will lobby our state legislators to help us. But during this time, it's even more difficult because they're not listening to the constituents either, all the way to the top. And so if we could somehow change the relationship that's going from city to state to national to Congress, we could make more changes in our community. But until we as elected leaders do like we used to, really be concerned about the people that elected us to serve, then we could make a real difference. Because when I was on this council for 22 years, when we lobbied in Washington, we brought some things home every single time. It wasn't all we asked for. It didn't all happen overnight. Example, the G.K. Butterfield Center, that took about 10 years for us to get the money, but we got it. And we talked about it for a long time, but it happened because we went to Washington, Congress of Cities, lobbied on Capitol Hill to ask for those things. And we brought a lot of things back home. We would go to the General Assembly, the same thing. But today, everybody's is caught up into what party you're in, and they don't like each other. They don't respect one another. So that's why today is much more difficult to get things done. But I believe as a council member that we can do better.
Thank you, moderators. That was your last question for this group. You guys have 1 minute each for your closing. We'll start with Mayor Connolly.
All right. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone that was responsible for putting on this forum. It's been great to be able to answer some questions for the citizens of Greenville. Thank you for all the great questions. I would love to have sat up here for a little bit longer to answer some more questions. It's been an honor to serve the citizens of Greenville over the last decade. I've enjoyed being in the role of the mayor for the last 4 terms. I'm hopeful that the citizens of Greenville will consider me on November 4th. Early voting starts October 16th, and I hope that you will consider me. We've seen a lot of growth that's happened over the last decade. I want to continue to see that growth. I want to continue to really make sure that we focus on things like public safety. I want to make sure that we continue to work on our infrastructure. I want to make sure that we bring job opportunities to our area. And I also want to make sure that we have affordable housing throughout our community. It's extremely important for us to make sure that when we grow smart. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to earn in your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mildred Atkinson, Council, you have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again for the forum, and my top priorities for the city are affordable housing, economic development and jobs, infrastructure development, community health and wellness, and that means mental health as well as physical health, combating food insecurity, violence prevention. And I feel if we all work together, not just this city, because right now we are in serious times. I think we need to meet with all our other governing boards, our county commissioners, our boards of education, and all of those groups that serve families. We're serving the same people. And it's going to get to a point, it's already there. If we don't get together, we are doing a disservice to our citizens. So we need to come together so that won't be a lot of duplication of service to make sure that we can serve all our families, because everybody deserves those things that I mentioned tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. We appreciate you being here. Y'all can clap. It's okay. As we transition to District 3, are there any elected officials who are not on the ballot for 2025? I do see Ms. Williams Perkins. Am I missing anyone else? So Pitt County Commissioner, Ms. Mary Wilkin, can you please wave your hand, please, ma'am? Yes, we'd like to acknowledge you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Now, for District 3, it's my understanding that our incumbent, Marion Blackburn, is the only one here. Having said that, Marion, you are allotted 13 minutes of your time. You can use that time in 2 different ways. You can either use it all yourself to make a statement for 13 minutes, or we could ask you a question or 2 to help move that along. But either way, you're entitled to 13 minutes. I said 13, not 30, Marion. There's a big difference.
Well, she talks louder than
By the time I sit in this chair, I'm going to sit here. So, I certainly can. All right. Good? All right.
So, Ms. Marion, how we're going to run this is I'd like you still to spend 1 minute introducing yourself. The next, I would like you to spend some time telling us a little bit about the things that you have done and things that you plan to do if reelected.
All right, fantastic. I've got 1 minute. Is that right for my introduction? Not 13 minutes. Okay. So good. Yes. Okay, good. So I'm going to limit my introduction to 1 minute since that's what everyone else has done. Good evening, everyone. I am Marion Blackburn. I am the District 3 City Council representative. I absolutely love the work that I do. And I think that we've had an amazing 2 years. And I'm looking forward to another 2 years. A little bit about me. I did grow up on a tobacco farm. That's more and more rare these days. It was a special experience, and it allowed me to really connect with nature starting at a very young age. I got my undergraduate degree at UNC Chapel Hill, and then a few years later, got a policy degree right here at ECU, so I am a proud pirate. Within that context, I've got 4 key goals for the next 2 years. The first is safety, and I can talk about safety a little bit more during the time that remains. Safety is top of the list. Second is our economic development. Just so happy that we have recruited Boviet Solar to Greenville, as well as some other businesses we can talk about later. Number 3 is our infrastructure to transform. Number 4, my favorite, is to make sure Greenville is a beautiful, fun, and safe place to live.
So now, Ms. Incumbent Marion Blackburn, how would you like to perform for us to move forward with you this evening? Would you like for us to ask you questions, or would you like to begin your answers for us?
Why don't we do questions? And I don't mind the 2-minute limit. I think that's fair. That's what everybody else has done. And again, we don't want to clear out the room with me just going on and on and on too much. So let's keep this kind of the same model.
Okay. Question. What is your vision for Greenville and Pitt County in the next 10 years?
I love that question. My vision for Greenville and Pitt County is really to continue what we're doing. We're doing so many things right. We're going in the right direction. And specifically, we are looking at the health of our community in different ways. When we talk about safety, again, to me, that is a holistic term that includes clean air, soil, and water. It includes safety from physical harm as well as safety from property crimes. So we're increasing access to health. We have a new health center north of the river. That's just so exciting. So these things all fall into safety. I think that housing as well as economic security also fall into the larger category of safety. So we're making our community safe. We're making our community healthy. We are also doing really exciting things with our greenways, our crosswalks, our sidewalks, and our roads. Transportation, we're really transforming it. We're making it so you get around the city of Greenville in different ways. Traditionally, you kind of had a car and maybe the traffic was not the best. We are looking at ways to make that better. As was mentioned earlier by one of our candidates, we have to work a lot with DOT, and 10th Street East is one of the areas that I want to see us improve. But again, getting to the larger question of where we're heading as a city and my vision for the city for the next 2 years, I see more greenways. I see more public art. I see we've got community gardens. These are things that give us a sense of place. I also see that in the next 2 years, we will have better infrastructure. Some of this construction, I know it's been a headache, and I know that it has also caused harm to some businesses, but we will have a more beautiful city with medians and better sidewalks and crosswalks. It's just going to be a more beautiful place for us all.
Thank you.
Okay, Miss Marion Blackburn. My question is, will you fund regular cleanup, enforce dumping laws, and support community beautification partnerships? Now, do you need me to ask the question again?
Yes, if you don't mind. Just-
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's
will
fine.
you fund regular cleanup, enforce dumping laws, and support community beautification partnerships?
Thank you. That's another question that really has a lot of effects throughout our community. What does our community look like? And we have seen with the growth of, for instance, single-use plastics, these end up on our roadways, they end up in our streams, they end up in fields, and they unfortunately create a lot of litter. So I think one of the things that we can do is look at single-use plastics as a starting point. And I don't mean by that regulating them. I mean, are there incentives that we could offer that might reduce single-use plastics? For instance, could we have something where we would encourage the use of paper bags, provide some incentives for paper bags, or have that kind of education where people, when you get plastic bags, just make sure that they blow out of your cars, and they're very lightweight. So that's the kind of thing that we can look at from the incentive point of view. Now, as far as enforcing, we absolutely can do that. And we have an amazing public works department, an amazing sanitation crew. And where there are, for instance, large items that have been discarded, you can always make a call and our public works will come and get them. And if you personally have an item that needs to be disposed of, you can call public works, and without charge,
thank you.
it'll
I
be
think
picked up.
The 2-minute time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that my 2 minutes?
question.
There was no clock. So I was just,
No, she has 30 seconds left. I'm timing it.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Okay, so I've got 30 seconds. Okay, just to say that I believe that sense of public orderliness and refuse not being in our city is important, and absolutely we can continue to emphasize that. We can count on our public works staff to take care of that, and I think we can also make sure that those places we've actually done some changes in terms of the large dumpsters and that kind of thing.
I like my timer better.
Thank you.
okay. All right, thank you. It's Marion Blackburn. As the incumbent, I'm sure you have seen or noticed a lot of things going on with homeless families in Greenville. What is being done to ensure that homeless families receive services?
You know, that is a great question, and it's also a heartbreaking question. In addition to my career as I've been a lifelong writer, but I also work as a paralegal with Legal Aid of North Carolina, and doing some of my casework, I have really talked with people with just heartbreaking stories. And after Hurricane Helene swept through North Carolina, I talked with people who suffered such loss there and just lost everything. And what that did, what this work has done is really allowed me to see more closely. And I know that I have colleagues who have done a lot of good work in that area, my colleagues on council. But for me, it has opened my eyes to what has been called the new face of homelessness, which is that you can have a job and you're working, but you're not making enough to have an apartment because housing costs have skyrocketed. So one thing we've done on the city council is we have sort of two prongs to approach this issue. One is through apartments that are funded through what are called LIHTC or tax credits. And these tax credits allow those apartment developers to sort of get their project done. And once that's done, in order to have their return on investment, they can set their rents below market rate. That's fantastic because that means that they can set their rates lower and keep them there. So these LIHTC housing apartment complexes, these are something that the city has done a lot of, and I would like for us to continue to do. We also have an ambitious new program, and I'm sure that you all have heard of it, which is the 50 and 10. We're going to be building 50 new homes in the next 10 years, and these are going to be made available to most of the time first-time home buyers.
Thank you very much.
To the moderators, we have time for one more question from Ms. Blackburn and then her closing.
Ms. Marion Blackburn, the question is, how will you advocate for safe routes to school, better transportation, and stronger support for teachers?
Oh, that's another great question. I taught school and really appreciate the work that our teachers do. I think one of the most important things we as a city council can do for teachers as well as for students is to provide a safe community, a healthy community, a joyful community, a community where everyone is welcomed and embraced, a community where we are kind to each other and where we truly love each other, a community where we have safe streets, where if you want to walk to school, you have a crosswalk to do that. Even more than a crosswalk, you've got a flashing light that's going to stop cars. I also believe that if we have access to health care. Again, we have the new medical office north of the river. If everyone has better access to health care, they're going to be healthier and they're going to be happier. And if we have economic investment, again, Boviet Solar, $300 million invested in our community, we all prosper when we have good economic development, where we have a good atmosphere for small businesses. So when I look at teachers, I look at students, and I want there to be sort of a context of safety, a context of well-being, a context of happiness and good relations in our community where everyone is valued and everyone is loved. I also look at economic security, making sure that we have economic security. Someone mentioned earlier food insecurity, making sure that we look at food insecurity and especially that fresh produce is available in areas where maybe you've only got, a store that has packaged goods, but making sure we get good foods, good fresh produce. Because when we have healthy joyful, secure children, it means that teachers can do their job of teaching because they don't have to be so concerned about the well-being of their students. So I think as a city, providing that healthy, safe environment is our job number one.
Thank you. Now it's time for your closing, and you will have 1 minute to do so.
1 minute. Thank you. Again, thank you to all the organizers. Thank you for everyone who's come out tonight. I just really appreciate it. I love seeing everyone's being here. Again, I'm Marion Blackburn. I am the District 3 City Council representative. I love this work and really want to continue doing it. So I'm asking for your vote. Election day is November 4th. Early voting starts next Thursday, October 16th. The 4 key goals for the next 2 years that I have are safety in a holistic way, where everyone in our community feels safe from bodily harm, safe from property crimes, but also safe in the sense of we have clean air, clean soil, clean water. We have safe streets. We have safe crosswalks and sidewalks, and we do the ADA improvements that are needed. That we continue welcoming economic development, that we transform our infrastructure, and that Greenville remains and becomes an even more fun, safe, and beautiful place to live. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Blackburn. And thank you for your service. We are now on to District 5 candidates and incumbent. We'll start with incumbent Les Robinson. Please come up, sir. Followed by Mike Tan.
What question am I going to ask? We don't have any community questions at all. You're trying to keep on with yourself? Yeah.
I got it. Thank you.
That's okay.
Okay, they look like they're taking a minute. While they do that, I just want to remind everybody that there is a survey for how this forum has gone and will continue to go on the last page of your program booklets. So on the last page of your program booklets, on the bottom right corner, there is a QR code to let us know how we can continue to improve this program every year.
Good afternoon. So at this moment, we will allow each one of the District 5 candidates to introduce themselves with 1 minute. We will start with Mr. Les Robinson, followed by Mike Tan. Mr. Les, you're first.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you for everybody that put this on, and for those in the audience watching, and for those that are going to watch this on replay and live. Thank you for dropping in. First, I want to say I am Les Robinson. I am the incumbent. I think some of the materials show it's an open seat, but it's not. I'm actually the incumbent. I'm now seeking a 3rd term. I'll tell you a little bit about who I am, Les Robinson. I have a beautiful wife. She's actually out in the audience tonight, Vonda. She joined me. I have 3 wonderful kids. This is my hometown. I have lived here for 64 years, except went away to law school and coming back. I practiced law here for 39 years. I have developed a ton of relationships over 39 years from a wide variety of people. I love this city with all my heart, and I'm a relentless advocate for it. I will go with you and meet you anywhere, any place, anytime to solve a problem. Please vote for me so I can continue to do the work I want to keep doing to make this, my hometown, the greatest city in North Carolina.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Tan, you have 1 minute.
Well, I'm Mike Tan, and this isn't my hometown, but you know what? I chose to be here. I picked Greenville as a place to come to retire and bring my kids to school here. I'm the proud father of a 13-year-old and a 21-year-old. One's away in college, one's in 8th grade here in town. My wife's brilliant, except maybe she's not too smart, but she did pick me. Dad said, you've probably seen me around town. I work with the East Carolina Veterans Council. I am the vice chair of the Pitt County Veterans Council. I'm chair of 5501 Greenville. I'm active with Kiwanis, and I am out and about routinely helping people where they are to raise themselves up.
Thank you.
Okay. My question is, Mr. Mike Tam, and you have 2 minutes to respond. The question is, before adding or raising fees like downtown parking, how will you guarantee citizens see results and upkeep?
Well, it's my understanding right now that we're not charging for downtown parking for the first 2 hours. And I think we should continue that process. We do need the time limit in order to cycle people through the businesses downtown. The way the current budget is set up, I don't see a need to raise those fees at this point in time. So it should be to me, it's a moot question because what we're doing is working.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Les Robinson, same question. You will have 2 minutes to respond.
Thank you, sir.
Before, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, sir, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Gotcha.
Gentlemen, I need you both to move closer to the mic when you speak. Thank you.
So thank you very much for that question. So there's a little background first. We had a parking problem. Our merchants were complaining about people not being able to come park and visit their businesses and patronize them. And sometimes they would drive on. And what we discovered is that a lot of the students at ECU were leasing our spaces downtown and using them to park during the day and occupy the spaces all during the day. We also learned that in these apartment complexes that are close by, they charge so much money to park there that the students likewise started doing that. We had to rectify that problem because that was a big problem. Because if you're a merchant downtown, like Matt Scully, and people can't park near your restaurant, they may drive right on past. We can't have that. So we implemented the policy of parking with a fee. Well, what we did is we got feedback. It was the first hour for free. And then we got some feedback that perhaps that wasn't quite long enough. And so we wanted to accommodate our merchants again. So what did we do? We extended it out to 2 hours. So the bottom line to that now, you can come downtown, you can do the street level parking, which is not the parking lot, but there's parking spaces in front of the stores, and park for free and stay there for 2 hours. No charges whatsoever. But if you stay beyond 2 hours, it's going to cost you, I think, there's 25 cents every quarter hour. So what it does, it really benefits our merchants. And so there's no parking fees that need to be assessed, but there are something that goes along with that. We've had some trash issues downtown from the bars. I personally have jumped on that issue myself because people complain. We went and got on those barns and say, look, you put your trash in your receptacle, you make sure it looks good and closed and make sure it's not bottles and stuff on the ground because it's kind of unsightly, particularly at the corner. I think it's the 3rd and Evans by the Hendricks building. So we wanted to fix that. So I personally made the phone calls and we jumped on that and we got that fixed. So now, because we got to have our downtown area looking sharp and nice and dressed. We can't have trash in the dumpsters overflowing. So luckily the merchants downtown work with us, particularly the bars. We've solved that problem. So that's kind of a long-winded answer. There's no fees. Come downtown, visit our merchants. One thing we can do when we do have construction, I'm seeing I've got 4 seconds left. We can do a better job of advertising construction is going to come on and let you know how to get to the merchant you want to go to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question for the incumbent, Mr. Les Robinson. What can be done in terms of economic development to ensure that the entire Greenville community is benefiting and not just one side of town?
That is, somebody's been reading my mind. I've said to many people, my hometown can't be a great city unless we go the north, south, east, and west. I've been saying that since the day I first came on council. One of my fellow council members out in the audience tonight, Monica Daniels, will tell you that. I preached that to her and preached it to her. So we got to develop all of our city. Well, one of the first things is I'm jealous. We're not in the spotlight. So I thought a sports complex would put us in the spotlight. A sports complex that would bring in between $40 and $42 million every year into this community. That's a great thing. It's also good for our youth. But we can't just ignore that. We want to put that on the north side. Councilmember Daniels and I work together. Got the pharmacy on the north side of the river. So we can continue to do the economic development, but we can't go to one side or the other. We have to develop all the Greenville. I think the north side of the river, we need to really sit down and really focus on the north side of the river. Look at the south side of Greenville out by Winterville. All that development. When I was a little boy, my aunt owned a farm out there where Academy Sports is now. That was farmland, but look at it now. We need to look north. We also need to look west of us. And part of that is the 50 and 10. That's 50 houses in 10 years. Where'd that come from? Local people, those relationships I keep talking about, the collaborations, the Lawrence Davenports of the world, the Pitt Community College, the Parker Overton that want to do that. So we're putting houses in the west side. So we want to grow that. So when we look at our city, the north, south, east, and west economically, we can't look just one place or another. And I really feel, and personally feel this way, we've kind of neglected the north side of the river. And so we've really got to focus on that. Monica Daniels and I have really focused on that hard. And she and I have been brainstorming about what we can do to bring in development. Just 2 Fridays ago, I had a gentleman sitting in my office that wants to bring $110 million development into Greenville. It's going to pay great wages and hire a lot of people. He's a little nervous because he's been concerned. And that kind of relates to our planning and zoning that's not had any development going on. That makes me nervous. My time is out, but looking forward to growing every section of Greenville in a great way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And for Mr. Tan, the same question. What can be done in terms of economic development to ensure that the entire Greenville community is benefiting and not just one side of town?
The issue that I see is that we've neglected the north side of the river, lots of West Greenville, and then part of District 5 where I am, like the Bancroft area and the Strong Point area, that they have been underrepresented and underdeveloped. What I've done already is I've met with Don Cavallini from the Committee Against Racism, which is the North of the River organization. I've met with the North of the River NOTRA, North of the River Association. I've worked with Black Voters Matter with Sain.
Speaking to the mic, please.
Oh, sorry. I worked with Black Voters Matter with Sain, and I've done this in order to find out what that looks like for them. Because what we have to worry about is those are our depressed areas of Greenville. We do not want to gentrify that and move people out and move them into homelessness. We want that growth to be smart. We want environmental justice to be part of the plan, where if we're going to go over and pave over 20 acres, where's that water going to go? And is it going to affect the current homeowners there? Because those are the least resilient people we have in Greenville financially. So with that, as Les said, ECU donated this great sports complex for us. Well, with that comes a vision of development. And with that development will come jobs. The problem is what kind of jobs is it bringing in? We're looking at hospitality jobs. Hospitality jobs barely pay the rent. We need to bring in jobs like the solar company that pays good living wages. And all that comes with building relationships, but being sound judges and community with the community organizers to make sure that we are positively impacting north of the river, not just impacting north of the river.
Okay, thank you very much.
For you, Mr. Mike Tan, the question is, what is your plan to ensure entertainment, recreation, cultural opportunities to serve the older residents 55 and above and the youth under high school age?
Well, this community has some great opportunities already. ECU is running programs every Thursday, every Monday for music that the older community goes to. I've seen buses roll into that from different areas of town. We have great programs through the public schools here for the children. We have Eastern Youth Orchestra. We have the Eastern Youth Chamber Music group. We have theater groups here in town. So it's a matter of getting the word out of what they're doing and when they're doing it to make sure people are informed so they can come out. Magnolia Arts is magnificent. We've got a great gallery at Emerge Gallery. My family, we are actually sponsoring a current exhibit at the Emerge Gallery, supporting the LGBTQ voices in Eastern North Carolina. So we have a lot going on positively. It's a matter of getting folks there. And we do have a problem with public transportation. So if you're depending on public transportation, we've got to work harder on that to ensure that the bus routes are going to the appropriate places, to ensure that the bus stops have seated coverage for people to wait for, because we get rain here. So there's not a lot I think we will naturally expand as a city with the entertainment activities. It's a matter of making sure everybody knows what those activities are. I think as city council, we can help support Magnolia Arts. We can support Emerge. We can support the Alexander series at ECU, the Eastern Youth Orchestra, all those great local organizations that are already doing things for our kids and our seniors.
Same question, Mr. Les Robinson.
Would you repeat the question, please, just to make sure I have it correct?
What is the plan to ensure entertainment, recreation, and cultural opportunities to serve older residents and the youth under high school age?
I'm a big advocate for getting our youth outdoors. At my age, at 64, we need to get outdoors also, because if you don't, you'll lock up. So part of that is looking first at the town commons. We've got the bulkhead project going in, trying to work on relationships to get that funded from Raleigh. With that also, I've already personally gotten some private donors that are going to help us redo the amphitheater. And, you know, young and old, regardless of your age, going down to a beautiful town common that's got wonderful seating and it's kind of a focal point of downtown, having to be able to do yoga on a Saturday morning or have some art festivals down there or some kid festivals for kite flying and stuff like that. So that would be a great focal point. I'd also like to see in the future a expansion bridge to go across our Greenway from the south side of the river to the north side of the river. So you could actually get on the town commons down here in Greenville, get on your bicycle, get with your friends, start riding there or walking there and walk all the way out to Wildwood Villas. Wouldn't that be great? Wildwood Park. Expanding Wildwood Park also, thanks to the partnerships of the Eddie Smiths of the world and his wife that's now not with us anymore. And expanding that Greenway. The parks out there that are expanding. I've got a friend I'm working with that's got some land out there. I want him to donate it to the city to grow the park better. This is these relationships I keep speaking about. And arts. Well, we know, and this is tragic, that the Performing Arts Center, my daughter danced for 15 years in ballet. I'm all about that. It wasn't initially, but after 15 years, you get used to it. So we need to have a Performing Arts Center here. But unfortunately, those types of businesses, which are beautiful, go see people dance and do artwork, they don't make money. So what we've got to do is to be able to fund that, we've got to grow the city of Greenville. How do we do that? We try to bring in the business developments that, number one, will pay great wages, right? So we create jobs. We create jobs, we get better housing. We get better housing, we got great jobs, we can lower our tax rate. And guess what we can do when we lower the tax rate? We're generating more money, but then what can we do? We can have performing arts centers. We can give more money to the arts programs. We can give more money to our library, which is amazing. We can do all of that. So we can, it's not one thing or the other, grow it together. And this is why I love this town so much. I want it to be talked about all over North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you.
To my moderators, we have time for one last question. Please promote any questions you have from the audience first.
Ms. Incumbent Les Robertson, the question is for you first. How will you manage the tax burden on residents while still funding quality schools, public safety, and services?
Great question. Number one, you've heard about revenue neutral. It's not a con game. We want to lower taxes because, number one, we've got a national housing crisis, right? And that means we don't have enough houses. And because when you don't have enough of a product that's in great demand, guess what? It goes up in price. So number one, we need to build more houses. And then the prices will come down because the supply will outdo the demand. So the prices will come down. And then we can do more things to grow our city. And so if we do that, we can lower the tax rate, because if you don't develop your city, the tax rate will have to go up if you want to provide these things, because you have to fund it. Otherwise you go in debt. We don't need to go in debt. So what do we need to do? We need to have development, not just any development, right? I mean, we don't have reckless development. This is my backyard. This is not where I've been here for a few years or a few months or a couple of years and I'm going to move on. I was born here, raised here, and good Lord, I'm going to die here. And when the Lord takes me, I'm going to be buried here, right? I want this city to be talked about by all over North Carolina. We got to formulate partnerships. Why? Because if we do that, and we haven't been doing that, we're not getting what we need out of Raleigh to help fund the things you just mentioned in that question. Because at one point we had a lot of power up there. And then for whatever reason, our county commissioners and our city and our university, and we all went our separate ways. We know one twig is not strong. You put them together, they become a force to be reckoned with. We're starting to do that again. We're starting to build good relationships. And I speak about that because we know to get things out of Raleigh, to get things out of DC, you got to have relationships. And we've not been getting our due. As I said to somebody, they gave us $5 million for our bulkhead. I said, where's the $14 million we need? The airport in Beaufort County got $20 million. Where's our money? So we're coming together almost on a weekly basis. I meet with people trying to figure out how to build relationships so we can get stronger relationships to get our funds out of Raleigh and to get our funds out of the federal government. Because you guess what? There's lots of funding there, but we got to be unified to do that. So with my incumbency and what I'm doing, we're going to get that money and we're going to get it here and we're going to get it soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Tan, the same question. How would you manage the tax burden on residents while still funding quality schools, public safety, and services?
Well, Les kind of stole my thunder because I was going to call net neutral a con game because it is. And let me explain to you why it's a con game. We are going to have, we are targeted to have 4 to 4.5% inflation next year. Over the next 5 years, that's looking at 20% plus inflation rate. That's not just for the people of the city of Greenville. It's also for city government. We have employee wages to pay. We have goods to purchase. We have services to provide. So if we're going to have a 20% drop in our actual income, net neutral is a way of suffocating city government. 20%, what 20 police officers do we want to lay off? That's why it's a con game. So net neutral is let's lower taxes when property values go up. That way the taxes stay exactly the same. It's actually a tax cut. The current city council gave the largest tax cut that I'm aware of in the city's history when they went 10 cents lower per dollar. And they did that smartly. Les wanted a much larger tax cut, not net neutral, but tax cut, which where did that money go? That money that we saved between what the city council did and what Les wanted supplied us with 8 more police officers, supplied us with 12 more firefighters. And this whole issue about we're going to develop our way out of it, he's not going to tell you the secret, the dirty secret that he has, that if you develop more property, you have more residents that deserve and require more services. The cost goes up with developing the area. You have more businesses. Those businesses are going to want police coverage. They're going to want fire services. They're going to want utilities. So you can't develop your way out of inflation. It is just an economic fallacy. But I'm out of time. I could go on for 20 minutes on this. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Candidates, at this time, you have 1 minute that you will be able to give us your closing, and we shall begin with our incumbent, Les Robinson.
Guys, again, thank y'all for putting this on. I love open-ended questions. I love being able to talk. People know who I am. I am who I am. I will go with you anywhere, any place, anytime, and I'm getting ready to do it again. Write your pens, pull them out. My number's 252-916-1729. I've been doing that for years. I'm the only one on council that gives out my personal cell phone number because I will take a phone call from anybody about any problem anywhere. Take it to the bank. That's what I've been doing. And as your incumbent, I've been doing it. As your next city council, I'm going to do it again. And here's one thing I want to say. Those 900 people working at Boviet Solar, making $60,000 almost a piece, they don't think it's a con game when you develop. They're loving their jobs right now. I've talked to several people. I'm Les Robinson. I love this city with all my heart. I'm a relentless advocate. I will go and talk to anybody, anywhere, any point. Call me. The sewer cap's not there. I'll fix it for you. I love this city. Love these people. Please vote for me in the next election and let me continue to be a relentless advocate to make this city, my hometown, the greatest city in North Carolina. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Mr. Mike Tan, you have 1 minute.
Well, I think we've painted a great picture of how we're different. We've heard about all of Les's contacts. We've heard about some of mine. I'm out there walking the streets, talking to people. After we had the shootings over in Sterling Point, I met a great gentleman there. His first name is Ty. I'm not going to give out his last name because of public forum, but Ty has put together a program for kids after school out of his own pocket in his financial straits. He's teaching the kids boxing. He's got games being played with the kids. He had a basketball net donated and he has things working right. We hear about the police not having good community relations. Well, I got to tell you, there's an officer, TJ Dougherty, out here right now, who, when he first started patrolling as part of the neighborhood program in Sterling Point, he was the white cop. Now he's TJ to all the kids. That's the kind of policing we need to encourage going forward. And that's what I'm about, all about public.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your comments and answering the questions to the best of your ability. You're welcome, sir. We are now going to transition to District 4. District 4, we have our incumbent, Matthew Scully. and his opponent is Nick White. Gentlemen, please enter the stage from this side. Just as previous candidates, you will each be given 1 minute for your introduction. You will then be asked a series of questions, some from the audience and some prepared from our moderators. You will have 2 minutes each to respond to those questions, and then you will have a 1 minute closing each.
Good afternoon. As she has already directed, you shall have 1 minute apiece to do your introductory. And at this moment, we will begin with Nick White. You may begin.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. My name is Nick White, candidate for District 4, City of Greenville. I'm a lifelong Greenville resident, been here my entire life. I'm a proud husband and father of 7 children, ages 15 to 1. I'm also a small business owner. Like everyone here, I love this city. I love this area. I want it to be great for not only me and my business and my family now, but for my children. I want my children to live here. I want my children to return to live here. I want everybody's children to want to grow up here and live here. I know Greenville is on the precipice of being something great and a leading city in the East. And I always tell people when I go somewhere and I tell them I'm from Greenville, they say South Carolina. I want to change that. And when I say I'm from Greenville, they say, oh, Greenville, North Carolina. So I really want to put us on the map. We're a great place with great citizens. Obviously, as you can tell here, we're all interested in making this a great city. I just thank you for having me here, and I'd love to have your vote. October 16th, early voting, and November 4th, day of voting. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we shall hear from our incumbent, Matthew Scully.
Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody being here this evening. I wanted to say thank you to GPAT and Awesome Radio for hosting us this evening. I love Greenville. My name is Matthew Scully. I'm running again for City Council for District 4. I moved here in 1999 to attend East Carolina University. I grew up in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And this community has taken care of me all the way through since I moved here, through college, getting married, raising a family, starting a business. It's really taken care of me, and I feel I owe a debt to the city for everything that it's done for me. I'm a community servant, and I'm a compassionate leader who puts people first. And I want to continue the good work we started in my first 2 years on council. We've done a really great job, in my opinion. We've built affordable housing. We're attracting really great businesses to the area. They're bringing thousands of jobs. We are supporting our fire and rescue department, our police department. We're building roads and sidewalks and crosswalks and greenways. We're doing a really great job, and I'm going to continue that work, serving the people of Greenville, putting people first.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. My first question would be for Mr. Nick White. You will have 2 minutes to respond. The first question is, do you support increased traffic enforcement cameras at high-risk intersections or community-based policing to reduce violations?
Thank you for the question. Of course, that's a huge safety concern. I know we all know about Fire Tower. We know about Arlington and obviously 10th Street. These are high traffic areas. You know, you see a lot of accidents there. I think the implementation of cameras has been a great thing in enforcement. It holds people accountable. You know, I think not only does it catch people when something bad happens, but you see these cameras and you stay on your P's and Q's. And obviously, too, the Greenville Police Department has a wonderful traffic division. They do great things. Everyone knows here you don't speed in front of Rose in the morning, right? Because you will get a speeding ticket. And I think continuing to do those efforts from the wonderful police department, the great traffic unit, the motorcycle unit, which has recently stood back up, and they're doing a great job. Continue to support them, get them the equipment, training when they need to do that. And as well, if the police department feels like more cameras in these areas would help with enforcement, with catching these speeders or catching these reckless drivers and maybe preventing future issues, I'm all for it.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Matthew Scully, I'm sorry. Same question. Would you like for me to repeat the question?
No, sir.
Okay.
I wholly believe in community policing. I believe our officers need to have a relationship with the community, get out of their cars, engage the public as much as possible. and really get to know the people that they are serving. We have a huge problem with our infrastructure and our traffic in this city. People are literally dying. We had a death last week. It's a huge tragedy at a high school locally where a young woman died pulling out of South Central. It's a huge issue. I have a teenage driver. She got in a wreck on Greenville Boulevard a couple months ago. People are driving too fast. They're not paying attention. They're on their phones. And we got to do something about it. We have to continue to improve our infrastructure, putting in traffic lights, putting in crosswalks with lights on them, and improving as much as we can with our infrastructure. We also need to work with our police department, make sure they're out there writing tickets. We have upped enforcement recently so that they're out there writing tickets, holding people accountable and slowing people down. And it is starting to work, but not fast enough. It really is dangerous. And we need to continue to work at it. As far as the traffic light cameras, I think that they are effective because if you get a ticket, you want to slow down, you think about it next time. But we are having an issue with those. There's a lawsuit going on to determine whether or not those are lawful. And whatever happens with that, we're going to follow the law and do what we're told. But as much as possible, we want to make sure that we're enforcing our laws and holding people accountable. And that really starts with supporting our police department. And we are doing everything we can to support them, making sure that as soon as possible, we're going to have them fully staffed. It's not quite there yet, but we've been working on it hard. That's part of what this council mission has been, and part of what we paid for with the small tax increase through the added revenue after the tax revaluation from the county. So we got to support our police department and make sure that they are fully funded, that they are awake and able to serve our citizens and feel supported. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds like there are a lot of priorities on the table, but if you could be able to say, Matthew Scully, the incumbent, what is your one top priority to move your city forward in the upcoming years?
That's a tough question because there's a lot of problems, a lot of issues, a lot of hopes, a lot of dreams and goals that we have for this city. But if I had one top priority, it'd be to put people first, to listen to people, to see them and hear them and learn about them where they are, and to do my best to improve their daily lives. That's the first question that we ask with every rezoning, that everything that comes before us on council, we ask, what is this going to do to the people that live nearby? How is this going to affect somebody's quality of life? That's the number one question, is putting people first and taking care of them. And that happens all kinds of different ways. It happens through affordable housing. It happens through programs that we have, building houses in West Greenville. The 50 houses in 10 years is going to be really wonderful. The partnerships that we have throughout the community to build affordable apartment complexes. I'm really excited about the new senior housing complex that's coming online. So just taking care of people. There's a lot of issues with food insecurity in our community. We need to continue to work on that. There's big problems coming forward, and they're getting worse because a lot of our federal funding is drying up. So we've got to do our best to take care of people locally. How do you put people first? Is by giving them stuff to do, giving them parks to enjoy, providing access through good infrastructure, through greenways and sidewalks. Giving them a fun, enjoyable place to live that they're proud of, is putting people first. Taking care of our Greenville Fire and Rescue Department, our police department is putting people first because they provide safety for our citizens, and taking care of them and making sure that they feel well supported and are funded and fully staffed. It's a huge priority, and that's how you put people first. So putting people first, serving the community, being a compassionate leader, and being a servant is what I plan to do and continue to do on council. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you. And I have the same question for you, Mr. Nick White. What is your one top priority to move your city forward in the upcoming years?
That's a great question. Thank you. Something I thought about a lot. I really feel like from the federal, state level on down to our local politics, we've really lost the idea and the mandate that we are elected representatives. We represent our constituents. So while I need to come here with a love for Greenville and a passion for the area and want it to be the best it can, ultimately I represent the constituents of District 4 and the city as a whole. And so it's been something going out and doing and speaking with voters and saying they want to know what is it that I want. And I say, well, I think it's probably the same things. We want a safe Greenville. We want fire and rescue and police to be the best funded. We want smart, responsible growth that benefits the whole city. and we really want to make sure the infrastructure and the growth, is done responsibly enough to where it's not harming the environment and everybody else. But I think if I had to sum it up to one issue, I'd say being a representative and talking with people. Yes, we have issues we think are important. We have a big idea of what it is, but ultimately we toss it back to you. What is it that you guys think are important? What do you like about Greenville? What do you think could change? It's really the input of the city as a whole and not just one person up here saying, this is what I want to do. And so if I had to pick one thing, it would be, let's put the idea back in representative. You are representing your constituents. And so instead of asking me what's important, let's ask everybody else what's important.
Okay, thank you.
Nick White, the question is, how will you encourage safe driving habits through education campaigns, especially among younger drivers and ECU students?
I know in high school, I went through driver's ed. There's a driver's ed program. I'm not sure the city's input on what these programs are, but I think it's important that we continue to, develop these programs to implement safe driving. I know there's programs that we can do with the city where we can go to various high schools and middle schools and show them, what does a totaled car look like? What does it look like when you're texting on your phone and not paying attention, you get in a car accident? How about maybe talk to some of these teenagers that were sending that text and wish they hadn't been, and it changed their life forever? So I think the city can support these initiatives by educating outside of driver's ed, really educating the public and students, especially, what outcomes can be. Because we can sit here all day long and say, don't drive, don't turn up your stereo, don't do these things. But when you can see the impact it has, see these vehicles, I'm sure you've seen them in front of Rose High School, a mangled car, and say, they were just texting, ran off the road. And you can talk to some of these students and reiterate, it's a life-changing, could be even a deadly thing. So I think the city can support that with our fire and rescue and police officers going in and not going too much graphic detail, but letting them know this is a life or death situation. Keep that phone down, keep it in the cup holder, put it on silent. Don't worry about the radio too much, and just let's be safe getting where we're going. Thank you.
Thank you. Same for you, Matthew Scully.
I agree with everything Mr. White just said. We got to do a better job of educating our kids and supporting the driver's ed programs within schools, and also leaning on our community policing and getting our fire and rescue department into the community as well, creating opportunities for them to engage with young people and create educational opportunities and grow the ones that we already have. We can also, that's another thing that our youth council could be engaged in, creating programs to interact with youth throughout the community, and creating different social media campaigns and ad campaigns through our PIO office, making sure that we're putting the message out there, and doing our best to educate and take care of our kids. It really is important. And also educating parents and making sure that they are spending the time with their kids and informing them about the importance of being a safe driver and staying focused in the car. There's a lot that we can do to improve safety, and education is a huge one. Education is the core of almost everything in our society. It's helping people learn, providing kids with opportunities to engage with leadership. And I think we got to work on that, getting into our schools and getting our police officers and our fire and rescue officers out of their vehicles, engaging with people throughout the community. Is awesome. And like you said, having kids have those experiences where they see a wrecked car, that's a terrifying thing to see. Or hearing a story from an individual who has suffered a loss is really a big deal. I remember my driver's ed teacher telling a story about how her husband got into a catastrophic car accident. I still remember that vividly. So those stories really stick with kids and make a big difference. So supporting those educators and people who are with them is extremely important.
To our
Thank you.
moderators, we have time for just one last question for this group of candidates.
Thank you. This question would be for the incumbent Matthew Scully. How would you plan to improve health outcomes, expand fresh food access, and promote wellness in Greenville?
Thank you. That is very important to me. I own the Scullery downtown, and at the Scullery, we make everything from scratch. We buy as many local ingredients as possible and provide whole foods for our guests. And I want to continue to do that in my job on City Council. Finding ways to provide healthy food for people, educating people about the importance of healthy food, and providing access for healthy food. And that's going to get harder and harder as federal programs begin to dry up. We need to do our best locally to make sure we're filling the gaps. And we can do that through City Council, through funding food programs. We can do that in our community, supporting not-for-profits that are feeding through the Joy Soup Kitchen, through the Greenville Community Shelter. There's a really great Right for Revival bus that we toured the other night that's going around Eastern North Carolina with mobile grocery stores that are providing fresh foods for people at a pay-as-you-come rate, which is really exciting. I've been talking with an individual who's thinking about putting in a food hub in West Greenville, which I think would be a really cool thing to do to provide fresh, locally sourced food and to provide a training ground, an opportunity for businesses to have kitchen space where they can have a commissary kitchen for their new food truck or for their catering business. There's a lot of opportunity for us, and it's a really big deal. Providing healthy, fresh, nutritional food makes a huge difference in people's lives and their health outcome and their happiness and their personal pride in themselves and in their livelihood. Having something delicious to eat after a hard day's work that fills your body with nutritious food, it's just incredibly important, and everybody in our community deserves that opportunity. And I'll do as much as I can to make that happen. And hunger and housing disparity, those lead to bigger problems. So we need to start with the core issues, and hunger and food insecurity is the big one.
Thank you. Mr. Nick White, the same question. How would you plan, if elected, to improve health outcomes, expand food, and promote wellness in Greenville?
Great question. Thank you very much. I think we've got 3 different questions here. We're talking about healthy food, talking about health access, and expand the wellness of Greenville. And I think, like Mr. Scully said, we're seeing some federal stuff dry up. So let's be proactive. Let's go out there. Let's capture these private companies that want to come in here and bring these food trucks. So what can we do as a city? Make sure that these areas are safe. Maybe the food trucks are in the areas they're in, make sure it's safe to be able to do the food trucks. If we're going to have a community garden, do citizens feel safe at the community garden? And really promoting these areas, because if we don't feel safe and secure, then we're not going to explore these options. So I think really being proactive, really getting in partnerships with these great businesses that have ideas to bring this healthy food in these areas would be a great idea. Also, too, let's be a big partner in ECU Health. ECU Health's main mission is rural health care. That's what we need. So let's be in partnership with them. Let's get them at the table. What ideas do they have? What ideas, how can we help them? How can they help us to make sure that citizens across Greenville and the county have good access to health care, to keep them healthy, take care of issues, and to make sure that Greenville is itself is healthy. I really think since we do see these things on the horizon, maybe these funds are drying up, let's be proactive, get ahead of it, do what we can to partner with companies and people that love the area and have the means to be able to do it and make sure it can be done and help.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we have reached the conclusion. Each of you will have 1 minute to make a closing statement. Mr. Nick White, we will start with you.
Okay, thank you again for having me here. This has been a great joy, and it's a very exciting time. Again, I'm Nick White. I'm a Greenville boy, been here forever. I've got a big family, a lot of kids. I need my business to be successful, feed all these mouths. But most importantly, I want us to succeed. I want everybody here to succeed and to do great. A rising tide lifts all boats. Let's do it for Greenville. Let's make Greenville great. Not for us. We'll be selfish. I'm being selfish right now. I want to be great for me, but I'm thinking about generations ahead. I pray to God my kids, if they move away, want to come back. And I want that for everybody's children as well. We think of, you look at a map, you got Raleigh, kind of a black space in the beach. Let's put Greenville on the map. Let's make this a shining example. Let's make this a destination area, and we all benefit. And so thank you again. I'm very passionate. I'm very excited. I love this area. I'm looking forward to working with everybody. I would really appreciate your vote. Everybody, please go vote. I'd appreciate your vote October 16th and obviously November 4th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Matthew Scully, you will also have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Thank you. My name is Matthew Scully. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as city council member for District 4. I love the work that we're doing. I love the fact that we're helping people and putting people first. We're changing lives. We are doing a lot. We are building sidewalks. We're building bus shelters. We're putting in bus shelter benches. We're going to redo the town common bulkhead. We're putting a pharmacy in the medical center north of the river. We're going to rebuild the sports complex north of the river. That's going to be a huge economic benefit up there. We're drawing thousands of jobs through industry to the area through our industrial park. It's a really big deal. We're doing big things. We're supporting our fire and rescue department, our police department by fully funding them and making sure they're fully staffed. We're working on our fire department's schedule to make sure that they can enjoy their lives and are well rested so that they are able to take care of us in our moment of need. I want your vote. I love this city and I can't wait to keep serving you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're in the home stretch. I appreciate everyone's patience. It's important for us to give everybody the same respect that we gave the earlier candidates. We have 2 more districts left, so just kind of hang on in there. Right now, we are going to entertain the candidates from District 2. Our incumbent is Ms. Tanya Foreman. Her opponent is Deb Shepherd. Ladies, please come in this way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, from the airport.
As previously stated, we will give each one of you 1 minute for your introduction. Then there will be a series of questions from our moderators, including questions from the audience. And then there will be 1 minute for you to close. Okay, we will start with our incumbent, Ms. Tanya Foreman.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Tanya Foreman. I am your City Council representative for District 2. In addition to that, I am the Regional Director for Women in Municipal Government for the North Carolina League of Municipalities. I am a community organizer and activist, founder of an organization called CARE, which is nonprofit, the owner of a consulting firm called For Your Solutions, and the founder of Eastern Carolina Steppers. My platform is housing and food insecurity, information and education, access to care, responsible economic development, and workforce development. If you were to ask me what I do for a living, I love for a living. Through my organization, we do workforce development, voter engagement, and I'll finish that in a moment.
Thank you. Ms. Deb Shepherd.
Good evening. My name is Deb, short for Deborah Shepherd. I am not a Greenville native, but I have called Greenville my home since 2003 when I came to ECU. I hold degrees in psychology and sociology. I am a community advocate. I have served this community since I've been here in many roles as a victim advocate, as a program director, and also as the founder and executive director of Heartoscope, which I've been running for 5 years now. And we serve our kids over in West and South Greenville, providing arts education and therapeutic art as a tool for healing and as economic development. A lot of my work has been about really getting community involved, having engagement at every level so that our city can be strong and represented by everyone who lives here. Thank you.
Thank you.
The first question should go to the incumbent, Tanya Foreman. Ms. Foreman, how will you strengthen mental health and addiction services for families, youth, and veterans?
Strengthening mental health and addiction services. Well, I think as it relates to city council, we probably need to think of scope of services as it relates to that. That is not necessarily within the scope of services of a city council representative. Now, as a community organizer and advocate, what I do is I address root causes for issues that might lead someone to making those types of choices. For instance, we do transitional housing for the homeless, and we provide housing for families that find themselves homeless, working class families with children, that is, and senior citizens with food insecurity. Last night after our meeting, I was feeding a family that is food insecure. So I think that part of that is just being present and meeting people where they are. If you want to ask what I do as it relates to that, it is preventative. And then to support other efforts that already exist in our community.
Thank you. Ms. Deborah Shepherd, the same question. How will you strengthen mental health and addiction services for families, youth, and veterans?
Thank you for that question. As Councilwoman Foreman said, we have to think about what is in the scope within City Council. So even though City Council cannot provide said services, what City Council can do is support the organizations that are already providing those services. So what that could look like a number of things. One of the things could look like working with our Recs and Parks and other community partners to be able to house these organizations. One of the things that we've seen is we have a number of organizations doing amazing work, but they struggle with funding. They struggle with having permanent places to operate. So that may look like opening up your rec centers during certain hours so that these organizations can have spaces. It also looks like working with community partners so that these organizations are funded. I think about with Hardiscope, when we first started, we received the West Greenville Community Grant, which was through the city of Greenville, that I'm pretty sure they came through a local partner. So even though City Council could not provide those services, they made sure that different organizations that were providing those services had what they need. So it just looks like forming those partnerships, strengthening those partnerships, making sure that these organizations that are serving have access to resources, have access to funding, have access to buildings to perform. So even if City Council cannot provide these services, they have to continue to make sure that the organizations that are doing the work are supported. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my question is for you, Ms. Deb Shepherd. My question is, and as usual, you will have 2 minutes to respond. Are you a person of religious faith? And how has that influenced your political ambitions?
I am a person of religious faith. My father is, he's a Holy Pentecostal preacher. So if anybody knows what that was like growing up, it was pretty intense. How that influences me, it's a few things. Number one, I understand that my faith is my faith. My faith is my walk. And if I am serving a community, I have to understand that each individual that I'm serving, each individual that I am working with has their own walk. And just like Jesus, you don't judge. You sit, you listen, you get to know them for themselves, and you find out what their needs are, and you get the job done. So for me, my faith is strong. It's definitely needed when you're serving. It's definitely needed when you're running, because people aren't always nice. And if you are strong and rooted in your faith, you can get through anything. And so that has definitely helped me in the space of service. It's definitely helped me in running. And when I'm elected, it's going to help me in my seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tanya Foreman, same question. You will have 2 minutes to respond.
Absolutely.
Do you need me to repeat the question? Or?
No, not
Okay.
as it relates to
All
faith.
right.
As it relates to faith, one of the scriptures that I carry with me daily, in both my work in the community and my work on council, is that we were directed through scripture to care for those who are oppressed and in need. So Proverbs 31, 8 and 9 says, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, ensure justice for those being crushed, and speak up for the poor and the needy to help them get justice. That drives my work. Again, as it relates to the work that I do in the community through our organization, we do voter engagement, we do social and community engagement, we do economic development and financial literacy training. We do what I call intergenerational work. So we work with senior citizens, hundreds of senior citizens every month, as well as working with the youth and connect those dots. And we also do health equity. All of that work, maintaining a consistent presence in our community and meeting people where they are every day, has led us to doing housing insecurity. Because we were finding that the face of homelessness in our community has shifted to include working class families and senior citizens. And so in action, not words, without any philosophical nor thoughts of what I think should be done. What we do in the community and what drives my work is my faith. And I do that in action, not just words.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Tanya Foreman, I have a question for you. One of the council's jobs is to encourage and manage growth and development within the city. What is the city doing right and what can it do better?
Well, as it relates to growth, not just in our city, our county, and our state, we're experiencing what I consider a targeted season of growth. Our city was listed as one of the top places to live in the country here earlier in the year, as well as our state has done that consecutively. And with that being said, one of the things that's happening is what we think is expensive, developers, investors from outside of our state think it's really inexpensive. And so they're coming here to set up shop and provide opportunities, but we have to manage that and make sure that it's in harmony with the day-to-day lived experiences and quality of life of our citizens. And so I always talk about order of operations. In mathematics, if you want to get a problem right, then you use order of operations. I think of life in the same manner, that if we want to get things right, whether it is in work in the community, in my family, or with our work on council, we need to think of an order of operations. And that would be PEMDAS, is what they describe it as in mathematics. And so as it relates to council, for me, that is always putting people first. That's the P in PEMDAS. Environmental management. That's the E and the M in PEMDAS. Development. And then those things aligned with the day-to-day lived experience and quality of life of our citizens lead to the sustainability that we need to make sure that we're making the right decisions and putting people first in everything that we do. We're growing. We've, over the last 10 years, have put growth first. We've got to continue to put people first.
Thank you very much. And Deb Shepherd, the same question. What is the city doing right and what can it do better?
Thank you for the question. So what I would say the city is doing right, the city has been working really hard with partnerships. And what the city could do better with growth is making sure that growth is accessible to everyone. Definitely not just accessible for one group of people. And this is not just with businesses that are coming in. Growth is not just about businesses. Growth is also about what is available to our families. So even for our youth, even for families, senior citizens, residents who have disabilities, we can definitely strengthen that. Some of the things that I've thought about once I get on council, definitely focusing on our disabled community. We have a number of boards that do a really good job to make sure that everyone's represented, but we don't have that for our disabled community. So definitely want to push to have a board for our disabled community because they deserve a voice too. They should be a part of growth. Growth should not happen around them. Also with our small businesses, we have a ton of small businesses in Greenville. A lot of times it's the same ones that are being highlighted, and that's okay. But we have a ton. One of the things that we've already worked on in District 2 is our District 2 Small Business Directory. We identified around 600 small businesses in District 2 alone. That's just one district. We have 5 districts. So if you think about it, if you have 600 small businesses in District 2, what do the other districts look like? And I'm talking about 600 businesses that probably don't really have a real space. So we are making sure that we have direct contact with them. They know what resources are available. They know what grants are available. So it's really the intentionality to make sure that growth is accessible to everyone and not just one group of people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Deborah Shepherd, the question is, what's your workforce development plan in partnership with ECU, Pitt Community College, and local businesses?
Thank you for that question. So let's start with Pitt. So one of the things we talk about a lot, we talk about the affordable housing piece, and affordable housing is part of that. One of the things that we definitely have to do is continue to strengthen our partnership with Pitt. And I say continue to strengthen it because it's already there. We need to make sure that when families are in these homes, that they not only be able to afford their mortgage, they can afford everything else. And working with Pitt, these families have an opportunity to learn trades that will help them take care of any home repairs that they may have. So it helps them budget. And then also these trades give them an opportunity to bring in extra income. Because if you're like me, that one job sometimes does not cut it. You have to have other options to bring in income. So definitely partnering with Pitt. I'm going to always stress Pitt because everybody doesn't go to a 4-year school. It costs money. Those I'm still paying loans, student loans. So if we can definitely strengthen those schools that have trades, that's going to help our families not go into a lot of debt. That's going to give them more room in their budget to be able to afford their bills. And it also just gives us a stronger community that feels equipped with what they need to go into the workforce space without worrying about having to pay off those student loans. So definitely strengthening those partnerships are very important. Thank you.
Ms. Tanya Foreman, the same question. Do you need me to repeat
the
it?
question? Yes.
What's your workforce development plan in partnership with ECU, Pitt Community College, and the local businesses?
So in partnership with Pitt Community, ECU, and local businesses, I think that one of the things for me that I bring to council is a grassroots perspective. I work at a grassroots level consistently every day. There are a lot of great programs, as Deb mentioned, that are offered at ECU and Pitt Community Colleges and college and through local businesses. But they don't tend to meet the people where they are that need it the most in our community. So one of the things that I would do is partner with them to make sure that the programs and services that are being offered are meeting the people that need it the most in our community. More than 20% of our community make $25,000 or less. A lot of the programs and services that are being offered, they do not have any type of community engagement or connection to the people that need it the most. Now, let me tell you what I've been doing as it relates to that, to help meet that need in spite of the fact that the resources that we have available are not getting to the people that need it the most. Through my organization, we have helped over 40 people get jobs over the last couple of years. This month alone, we have helped 15 young people from West and South Greenville get jobs. This past Wednesday, 8 of those 15 young people did their orientation at one of the companies that we've brought into our community. 6 young men, 2 young women, making $19 an hour with full benefits. We did that by going into the community, doing regular engagement, meeting them where they are, taking them through a process, helping them with their resumes, doing coaching for the interview skills, and making sure that they were hired. After which, we will follow them through making sure they have transportation and lead them to better housing.
Thank
Unless
you.
there's a question from the audience, that was the last question for them before they're closing.
So at this time, we will now allow the candidates to give their 1 minute closing. And we shall begin first with our incumbent, Tanya Foreman.
Okay, so in closing, what I would love to say to you guys is that representation matters. The decisions that we make in these positions impact thousands of people. You guys, this is not the Glee Club. Most people treat this like you're joining some type of elite group, when the truth of the matter is that we are elected to serve citizens. So in order to do that and do it well, we need to make sure that we have someone in the positions that's caring, that's comprehensive, meaning that they do work at the local level, the state and the national level, and are well-versed, that are connected to community and serving on a day-to-day basis so they understand what the issues are, and capable of integrating that knowledge into the decisions that are being made on council, and then committed not to special interests, not to developers, but to serve you, the citizens of our community. I said when I ran before that I wanted to demonstrate that these roles were platforms for service.
Thank
and I
you.
have done just that.
Ms. Deborah Shepherd, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. And thank you to the organizers for putting on this forum. As Councilwoman Foreman said, we do need people in these seats who have served at every level. For me, I've served at grassroots level. I've served on local city boards with our Human Relations Council and our Recs and Park Commissions, where I currently serve as chair. I also serve on a state level with our Juvenile Justice Planning Committee. So those gave me an opportunity to understand what is needed in our community at every level. I plan to bring that to council. I definitely need those votes. Early voting starts October 16th and it runs through November 1st. And then also on election day, November 4th. And I'm excited about getting this community together to not only have your council serve you, but get the community so engaged that they are serving alongside us and we're not just serving them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. We appreciate you both. And last but certainly not least is District 1. Don't look so excited. So we're going to start with our incumbent, Miss Monica Daniels, followed by her opponent, Arjanae Jones. As these ladies make their way to the stage, please remember that there is a very important survey on the last page of your program booklets. There's a QR code, and that QR code will allow you to give us some feedback so that when we are ready for this next year, yes, next year, because every year is an election year, that we can do the best job possible.
Mr. Calvin, if I can have one of those as well, that'd be great. Okay, as we have stated before, we get ready to get started. As we have stated before, you will have both of you will have 1 minute to give an opening statement. Ms. Ariana Jones, we will start with you. Arjanae, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Arjanae
It's
Jones,
okay.
we'll start with you.
Hi, my name is Arjanae. I am a little sleepy, but I'm here. I'm not a career politician, but I'm a community servant. I graduated ECU with a degree in recreation and leisure studies with the concentration in recreational therapy. I work in West Greenville. I live in North Greenville. My son attends school at North Pitt High School, and my husband works in the industrial park. So I feel like I'm well invested in District 1. I will never promise you that I can solve all your problems, but I will listen and advocate on your behalf. I have a passion to serve others. I like to meet people where they are. And I have served this community and I have served this community in various capacities. I am the founder of Something to Somebody, It's a local nonprofit that feeds 120 residents of this community every Sunday in a local park. I serve on the city's Affordable Housing and Loan Committee. I'm also a member of on the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina Commission. I'm social.
Thank you. Ms. Monica Daniels, you would also have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Thank you very much.
Thank
My
you.
name is Monica Daniels. I've served on the city council since 2019. I currently serve as Mayor Pro Tem. I find great joy in serving the citizens of Greenville. I believe in collaboration. It is because of collaboration that we've been able to create and do some great things in our city. We've been able to create we'll have a pharmacy north of the river that's coming up. We've been able to supply bicycles and things to children from the Boys and Girls Club north of the river that they had not previously had. I am the director of social work at the Salvation Army. Excuse me. In that capacity, I deal with people from all walks of life every single day, Monday through Friday. And if they call me after that, I'll do it then. We feed the homeless. We educate those. We work with ECU Health to bring health care, minor health care to those in need and who are not insured. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Okay. This first question shall go to the challenger, Ms. Arjane Jones. What will you do to engage residents who feel disconnected from local government?
Thank you for that question. I would start with reaching out to the residents that we're speaking of. My whole thing is to meet people where they are, whether in the grocery store, whether they're at Food Line is a grocery store, but whether they're at their jobs, to stop and talk to them. And if people have questions, a lot of times now, even in the community, a lot of people, they'll come up and say, well, listen, I know you follow politics a lot, so let me ask you this question. At my job, they have been saying I was going to be the next president of the United States, because I'm always saying, go vote, go do this. So I like to engage people where they are, meet them where they are. Any questions that they have, I would do the best I can to answer. And if I don't know the answer, I will go back and get it and take it back to them. I will also, when I become city council, I will have town hall meetings. So if you have questions, you can come out then, not town hall meetings where I have everyone else talking, but where I'm talking, where you can talk back to me, where you can ask me the questions and I can engage with you one-on-one or as a group with any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Monica Daniels, this one is also for you. What would you do or continue to do to engage residents who feel disconnected from local government?
Thank you. One thing I would do is to always make myself available to residents and to meet them exactly where they are. As we've heard a lot of tonight, it's important that residents from all walks of life feel that you are approachable and that they can speak to you and that they can share their concerns with you without judgment. One thing that I've done while on the city council is we've created a direct landline to the city council members, because initially we only had one phone contact, and sometimes those messages would not get to us. So I've had staff create landlines where our phone calls go directly to our emails now. So there's no excuse for us not to be in contact with someone. I think it's important sometimes to just sit on a porch with someone, to go walking with someone, to talk on the phone. I have a resident now, she just calls me sometimes. She wants to talk about the president, and that has nothing to do with anything, but it's a relationship that we've built. And that is something that I'm proud of and I will continue to do.
Thank you.
My question is also for you, Ms. Monica Daniels. You have 2 minutes as usual to respond. What plans do you have to improve the livelihood of those that live in West Greenville, for instance, affordable housing, educating citizens to get jobs, and a safe place for children to play and live?
Well, thank you very much for that question. One thing we've done is we've partnered with the Boys and Girls Club in West Greenville at the Lucille Gorham Center to bring a place for kids to be in the city. We've also brought the pool to West Greenville in reference to education and safety. Is that correct? That
For
would-
instance, affordable housing, educating
Okay.
citizens to get jobs, and a safe place for children to play.
Okay. So another thing, thank you for that. Another thing that we're doing is with Pitt Community College, there are some trades where we're working with individuals that they can get jobs with Thermo Fisher instead of going for the 2-year degrees or the 4-year degrees. So partnering with people, I think collaboration is very important in the work that we do. Affordable housing, you've heard a lot about the 50 and 10 today and just getting people prepared for that. We can talk affordable housing, but can everyone afford affordable housing is the question that we need to ask. So how do we get individuals to that place where they can afford it to live in their long term? We've seen individuals, even where I live, I've been in countryside estates for 21 years. And in that time, I've seen people lose their homes because mortgages have ballooned or things have happened because there's no education in that. So just teaching people and working with them. We partner with Habitat for Humanity. We provide them with parcels of land so that they can build housing for individuals. And we would like to continue that partnership. So things that knowing where people are, my life experiences help me to understand individuals who may go through some things that they may feel like they're being judged, they're being criticized and things, and just making people always feel welcome in our communities and in our city.
Okay. Thank you for that. Miss Arjanae Jones, did I say it correctly at that time? Great. Same question. Now, would you like for me to repeat the question? Okay. What plans do you have to improve the livelihood of those that live in West Greenville? For instance, affordable housing, educating citizens to get jobs, and a safe place for children to play and live.
So each Sunday I work with, I feed 120 people, and majority of them do not have jobs. We have worked on job of helping them fill out applications to apply for jobs online. Affordable housing. Everyone is not ready for housing as far as purchasing their house. A lot of people, we need to also focus on affordable renting. Right now we have rent that's $1,900 for a 2 or 3 bedroom. We have some that's $1,250 for a 2-bedroom apartment. I worked with a young lady that lived in a hotel for the last 2 months because she could not afford affordable renting. So that is the one thing that I think we should also look at. And the third part was?
The third part is a safe place for children to play and live.
And I truly believe in improving public safety, and not just policing, but to have community buildings or community programs for kids to be able to go to and to have it so it's accessible. And if they can't get to it, for us to be able to get them back to it. We have the not gym, what is it called? The
recreation
centers, and we have the we should be able to get kids back and forth to that. There's a lot of kids that live on the other side of Greenville that may not be able to get to ones like Sterling Point that does not have a community center within their vicinity to be able to get to. So while we have the program, they're not accessible for the children. So that would be something that we could work on making it accessible to them and for them.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Arjanae Jones, I'm going to give you a chance to just convince us and the public that you should be given an opportunity to serve the citizens. Why do you think you should be given an opportunity to serve our citizens on the city council?
I would say for the last 10 plus years, and I'm just going to go with 10 for something to somebody, I have already been serving the community. I've been doing it in the words of Councilwoman Foreman, grassroots levels. Even prior to that, with various organizations that I belong to, I have been serving the community. I've been out advocating for the residents and citizens of Greenville, Farmville, which is where I'm from, and local areas. So I'm not new to this. I'm true to it, and I've been doing it for years. I have a servant heart. I'm a public servant, and being on the council is what we should be doing: serving others, making sure that our citizens' voices are heard, their needs are met, and that we're able to go out and speak for them on their behalf, and not tear them down, but build them up. If they have a question, if we don't know the answer, find it, bring it back to them. So I would say I've been doing it.
Thank you very much for your answer. And as the incumbent, Ms. Monica Daniels, I would ask you, why should you remain in your seat on the city council?
Thank you, ma'am. I believe that I should remain in this seat because I've done the work and I continue to do that work every day. I reach out to individuals. I make myself accessible to those individuals, and I seek out the needs of the community. As stated earlier with some of the earlier council members, there are times when some of our roads belong to others, such as DOT. And one of the roads north of the river had been just tearing people's cars up for a very long time. So I reached out to the resources and those that from the state that we work with, excuse me, and we had that road repaired. So sometimes it's just the little things and just being there for people. I have spent 22 years in child welfare, so I've worked with all types of individuals, and there is just nothing that I can't say nothing I haven't seen, but there's a lot that I have seen. And in doing so, you make people feel welcome. I've always had my children from back when Hurricane Floyd. We were in the community, we were working with others, we were helping others. We continue to do that. We have a responsibility with our background and just being who we are to serve others, to give back to this community. Because when a door is open for you, you hold that door open for the next person. And that is what I try to do every day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Monica Daniels, the question is, how will you expand safe, affordable activities for children and teens beyond sports so they have a positive outlet and keep them engaged and supported?
Thank you. I'm not sure I would expand it as much as I would work with the ones currently doing the work. I think one thing that we do sometimes is we try to recreate the wheel. And there are a lot of organizations currently in Greenville that work with our youth. They work with, the community as a whole. So seeing what some of their needs are, why aren't they being successful, and what funding might they need to move forward with assisting our youth and using some of our teenagers. They know the road. I think they would get along a little bit better with some kids than we might, or they will be more receptive to that. So utilizing what we already have, helping it to grow, and helping those businesses and those organizations that help our children to go. And one thing we also have that I'm very proud of is we're expanding our transportation, and that will allow better access to some of our youth. We will have on demand, and it's more like a Uber type transportation system, and it will start north of the river, Route 4. And in that, the adults will be with them, of course, but we can provide better access for parents to be able to get their children to location instead of spending 2 hours on a bus going from place to place to do what they need to do.
Thank you.
To our moderators, we have time for just one more question in this section for these candidates. If you have any questions that are specific from the audience, please catapult those.
Last question, and it shall go with the challenger, Arjane Jones first. Road projects and beautification efforts often block entrances, reduce foot traffic, and cut off parking for restaurants and small businesses. What specific steps will you take to protect these businesses during construction?
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yes. Road projects and beautification efforts often block entrances, reduce foot traffic, and cut off parking from restaurants and small businesses. What specific steps would you take to protect these businesses during construction?
If the business is still open, I would say we can have detours. We can have different, because I have seen as I've gone uptown to try to go to a restaurant, I've had to go in a complete circle, it seems like sometimes, to get to the restaurant. But we'll make sure we have clear signage so we can let people know that the restaurants or businesses are still open. We can make sure that we have directional signs, so someone like myself that might get lost going this way and supposed to be going that way, that we know exactly where it is. Place the businesses' names so that we know what businesses are still open. And And if there's any way that we can reduce all the stuff that's going across the streets, let's reduce that so that we can get to those businesses and keep them open and safe.
Thank you. To the incumbent Monica Daniels, the same question. Road projects and beautification efforts often block entrances, reduce foot traffic, and cut off parking for restaurants and small businesses. What specific steps would you take to protect these businesses during construction?
Thank you. I believe that communication will be key, whether that is because with the sign, as Ms. Jones stated, or with roadways, and keeping an eye on it, because sometimes you think things are going one way and then a week later someone tells you that things have changed. So just ensuring that people are staying in compliance for the promises that they made, and then utilizing those businesses, supporting them, ensuring that you spread the word for others that downtown businesses are going through something right now. So let's support them. Let's eat there this week. And there can be campaigns for lunches and breakfast and different things like that. It's very important to support others' dreams. And those individuals who have those businesses downtown, those are their dreams. It is their livelihood. And it's something that I would strongly support and ensure that they are accessible as people shop day to day.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Well, this is a conclusion. Each one of you will have a 1 minute closing statement. I will start with you, Ms. Arjane Jones. We'll start with you. You will have 1 minute for a closing statement.
Thank y'all so much for putting this program on for us. I would say this job is not about sitting in the office or even showing up, but it's about standing for you, the citizen. So not only will I listen to your issues, but I will act on those issues and follow through. At the end of the day, I'm running to be a voice for all people, not just certain people, but people from residents to students, from small business owners and young families. Together, we can build a city that works for everyone. I plan to lead with compassion, truly hearing what you're saying, action, advocating, and acting on what you're saying, and accountability. And we deserve a representative who shows up, follow through, and stands on their word. Someone who listens deeply, acts boldly, and stand for what is right. And I would say that is me, Arjane Jones, and I solicit your vote starting October the 16th and November the 4th for Election Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Monica Daniels, you will also have 1 minute for a closing statement.
Thank you. And thank you all for putting this program together. I think it's very important that the citizens hear our voices and that their questions are answered and their concerns are valid. I believe that I should continue to serve on the city council because I give it all my heart's work. I'm out in the community every single day. Ever since the day that I was appointed to District 1 City Council, I have drove through District 1 every single day with the exception of days that I was sick. I think it's important that people see you, that people know you. I have advocated for and received upgrades to the Greenville Terrace Center, $1.2 million. A cemetery, the Brown Cemetery, one of our African-American cemeteries here in Greenville, advocated for $700,000 to get that restored, to look like the others, and to ensure that we receive equity in our communities. And so I'm looking forward to serving you this term and the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. We appreciate you both. And I would just like to say the goal was 9:30 and it's 9:29. And you ain't got to go home, but there are just a few statements. This forum was designed to educate residents of Greenville so that they can be well informed concerning the candidates who are competing to be their next representatives. We hope that we have done that justice. The live stream, of course, was on GPAT TV 23, Facebook, and YouTube platforms. However, this will be played back on Channel 23 local cable until Election Day. We also want to give a special shout out to Akila Thickpen. Please give her a hand. So please make sure that you reference the playback and make sure that you let other people know that they too can watch it if they've missed it for this evening. Thank you to all of the candidates for your time and lending us your opinions and expertise. Good night.